Recording this computer. All right. Hi guys. Ginger and me. Um,
Hi.
we got some really cool stuff here to share with you today. Um, what I want to start with is I'm just going to do a little bit of an introduction because it's actually not my work, it's actually Ginger's work that we're working on today. But Ginger and I kind of like this had this like coalition of kind of thinking about the same things. And where it started with for me was this obsession that I've had about these Super Bowl commercials and stuff like this, and this Maserati one, which I'm going to play the very beginning of this Maserati commercial. I'm not going to play very much of it at all because you get severe strikes for playing this stuff. But I'm just going to play this wave crashing, which is the beginning of it. And what the reason that the Maserati commercial for the Super Bowl is relevant is they talk about the Giants. They talk about the Giants coming and then the Giants strike. And I think, and Ginger thinks that the Giants are us. So
That's right.
I'll give you a link to that commercial so you can watch it and see what they say. But the other thing is Ginger I put together a presentation and now it's not appearing on my computer, which is obviously
Mercury retrograde.
exactly. I can't find it. It was only short anyway, but basically what I was doing was looking at Maserati, looking at the word possession, and looking at the word possession being two things: possession as in a gift or a possession, something you own, and then looking at possession as something possessing you,
Owning.
owning you, the possession owning you. So we kind of like Ginger and I on this conversation saying, right, you've got this really, really expensive car, Maserati, right? And somebody comes along and they scratch it. How do you feel? Or you
It's
say,
as though somebody has touched you,
mm,
because it's a part of you now and it occupies space within you
and it's who
if we
you
allow
are.
it. That's
And
correct.
I'm sitting at the traffic lights, right, in my Maserati, and you come along sitting in the traffic lights next to me in your Ferrari. And it's just like tempting to see who's going to be the bigger man here, you know?
You feel that
Uh,
energy.
you feel it. So it was just that it was possession aspect and the possession, the fact that we should be paying attention to the word possession and what is possessing us, what is stopping us from moving forward through things. Is it because of possession? Is the possession holding us back from making forward movement in our lives because of possession? And could be neither thing. Right. So then Ginger's put together this amazing, and this is the first one. It's pretty clever.
Thank you,
She's
Kim. A lot of encouragement from you, and I really appreciate it. This was intended to be a draft, and I'm excited to share it. It was, I guess we'll all see what it is. It was done as quickly as I could and not as quickly as I would have
oh,
liked.
I
But
don't I don't think I shared the screen. I started
I
and
think it's,
I started without you.
oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Right.
We're new at this.
All right.
I sure
I'm
am.
gonna share. I get share my screen. Right. So I'll go back to here.
Yeah,
I'm
there
now
we go.
sharing. So hold on. I I need to start from there somewhere. Go back to it. Right. Okay. What would you like to say about that?
Well, I just thought this was sort of, it was kind of interesting to me that I couldn't find very good pictures of tridents and things like this. And this one I felt was one of the best images that I could find. And so I just wanted to share that. This is obviously from the Aquaman movie. Jason Momoa plays the part.
Oh, I like
And
it.
one thing about Neptune I find interesting is that to me it's like a masculine version of the moon having rulership over the water. So this is what we've recently imagined the ruler of the water to look like. And a lot of people, are heavily invested in this particular story and how it all unfolds. So I don't know how to get to the next slide, Kim, but if you want to
All
move
right, I
on,
just want to
what do
say
you
one
see here?
thing. I just
Hmm.
wanted to mention one thing I forgot to mention before, which is the Maserati symbol on the front of the car is the symbol for Neptune.
Thank you. Yes, and that was you said, what do you see here? We were looking at it the other day, and that
Mm.
was the one thing that really struck me. There was a lot about the video, but the one thing that really struck me was the clear symbol of Neptune there, and also known as Poseidon. So it's not just Neptune that we're dealing with. It's the same story told. There's many others that
And
have a very similar story.
the story that keeps on coming to mind all the time is that of Perseus. That seems to be around a lot.
Oh, that's
Story
interesting.
of
Yeah.
Perseus, Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Perseus.
So go Neptune, right?
Well, these are some of the things that we know about Neptune, and that again was sort of another image of the trident. One thing I know is that Neptune and Poseidon were said to rule over the land and sea. So there's some big differences. It's like they didn't bother to share all the details about Neptune when they rewrote it for um, was it Roman? I get confused about who has what story, but there are very variations of the story found in movies and also our mythologies, and or what we think might be our actual histories. And so again, I show you that it's I think the masculine moon because of the rulership over the water. Um, this particular sign has rulership over Pisces, which is the 2 feet, the two fishes, and it's the 12th house. And the 12th house is all about building community. So things that we've talked a lot about this year, Kim, come to mind. It's like we've been intuiting this, and now we can see, when we look at Neptune, we can see the powerful effects that Neptune has on us. It controls our dreams, our psychic awareness, our mediumship, what is fantasy. The 12th house, the Piscean has this innate ability to go into these deep, deep waters. Nobody really knows what they're thinking. And so Neptune can be a little bit of an unpredictable energy, and it can create energy of illusions and is also obviously sensitive.
So can I just say that one of the things that I forgot to mention right at the beginning was when you said to me that you think that we're in the 12th house at the moment, you think we're experiencing this.
I
And
agree.
part of this was based upon 2 videos which you and I shared the other day. And it was Heather Ainsworth and Pam Pamela.
Oh,
I'll
Pam
just
Gregory.
Yeah, Pam Gregory, yeah. I'll just go to it for a sec.
And it was such a lovely
So
conversation that they
it's
shared. That was an amazing opening to that video, by the way. The big water in that video, Maserati show.
Yeah.
Too bad we can't find your presentation because you really did a great job in bringing my awareness to what's being, really promoted when we see the Neptune symbology in those commercials. And, it's getting a lot of attention.
So I'm going to give you a link to this as well, which is a conversation between Pam Gregory and Heather Ainsworth.
Mhm.
And they're talking about the lunar eclipse on the 5th of May that's coming up. And they're talking about the energy of my last video, which was the solar eclipse that happened on the 19th and the 20th of April, and how this energy is carrying us through to this phase that we're in. And it's an amplified aspect of where we've come from in relation to us becoming giants, if that makes any sense, in relation to us owning our own ability. And I wrote some of this down from what Pam had said earlier. No, Heather had said earlier. And that we're stepping out of violence and stepping out of conflict into a capacity of healing each other and holding each other in respect, with compassion, being in truth. And we'll be given the opportunity to examine our relationships with ourselves and our own inner emotions with our own truth. So then Ginger and I are having this conversation about the word reaction. So we're looking at the word reaction, and if you break it down, it's actually kind of react. So it's like doing the old stuff over again. And then you've got the shin on the end, which is the ion cannon from the Star Wars movies shooting out energy. It's the ion. So you got like this react, react, react. Are we really going to do the same pattern over and over and over again? Energy pattern? Or
We
are
will.
we going to become aware of our own reaction? And instead of reacting, we're going to start responding rather than reacting it.
Well, and we're going to learn to control our reaction. We're going to see that, fear is a weak reaction where we know that most times it all works out, right? So if we can just sort of project ourselves in the opposite direction of fear, what could we accomplish? And I think having this awareness, we're given this unique opportunity because in 12th house, it's the end of the story. It's like we know that these are end times. I think it's just the beginning for people though that are accepting that we are who we are and that we have this innate ability to create with our thoughts and our actions, but mostly our reaction to the thing that we have no control of. How do we
Exactly.
respond to it? That's where our superpowers are.
Well, and our superpowers are in understanding or comprehending that we have no control over the flow, that our only control comes in relation to our intent in any given situation, and that whatever we're thinking about, or like we're creating what we imagine we are creating. But you could get, sorry, it sounds a bit confusing, but you go back to your original intent. You go, well, how did I create this? How did I create this scenario happening? When
Well,
did
we'll find
I?
ourselves saying things like, I knew that would happen.
Yeah,
you know and when we catch ourselves saying it, that's when we learn how it is that we actually manifested it. What kind of energy did we put into the knowing that it would happen? Did we sort of sit and think negative thoughts and play the movie in our mind before we left the house? you know oh, it's going to be a terrible day, there's going to be lots of traffic, and or did you sort of see clear blue skies and clear paths ahead? What was it that you took with you? What story did you leave your house with?
right. So coming back around to this, these guys, Pam Gregory and Harold Answorth, are talking about what we are going to be doing over the next experiencing over the next couple of months, and how many repeated times these patterns keep on repeating. The conjunctions, the same planets keep on coming back to these conjunctions, refacing it up to each other. So there's going to be opportunities in the next few months for us to really, really, really learn and get hold of our shit, basically, get our shit
Exciting.
together.
It's exciting. I'm excited because I
So,
know that great change is within our reach and we just have to say yes. We have to dream the dream and then say yes.
right. So
And
you,
there it is. Neptune dreams. What illusion do we want to have? If you expect it will hurt, it will hurt. You know, we are the authors.
by the way, these are not magic gloves I'm wearing. They're it's because a friend of mine gave them to me today because my hands have been really sore, and she thought these are like arthritic gloves or something that might help. So just in case you
I'd be
thought that was
curious to do palm reading to see what that area is. I know that this is the mound of Venus. I feel like this might be Pluto, Venus, feminine. It's the little, that kind of
the
thing.
little finger.
All the planets are represented in the palms. Our
Yeah.
story is told very well in the cymatics of the human when you look at our patterns on our own body.
Uh, I had a friend, actually, just to change the subject for a second. This friend and I were sitting painting one day, and she's looking at this painting. She's going, "Something wrong with that? It was a mermaid. It was really good painting." It's going, "Something wrong with it." I'm looking at it, going, "Yeah, there is something wrong with it. I don't know what it is. Really, it's a good painting, but there's something wrong." And she'd actually put two elbows in,
Oh,
She'd actually painted the arm with an elbow and then another elbow and then the
hmm.
hand. But it took us about 15 minutes to work out that that's what she'd done.
Well, we get a little nose blind, for example, if if you don't leave the house every now and then, you don't realize what kind of aromas they're actually around you, wafting around you,
Yeah.
until you come back into the house. And it's kind of like that. Like with accounting, you might need somebody else's eyes on it. It won't matter how many times you look at it, you won't find the error. You might need somebody else to just say, well, duh, it's right there.
I
First
don't,
time they see it, they'll say, well, there's two elbows,
I've got a,
but we've conditioned ourselves to see it as perfect.
I've got a new
Or,
sense at the moment, and
oh,
it's a new sense of smell, and I can smell toxic.
oh,
I can smell toxic people if they
sorry
walk
to hear
past
that. I'm
me.
sure it's putrid.
I can smell the, I can smell it, and it smells like uh, it smells like um very chemical,
Hmm.
very chemical smell, like being in a laboratory, being in a like I guess a chemistry thing in school, or it smells very chemical. But I picked up this thing where when I'm walking around, if anybody's obviously got a lot of toxins in their body or something, I'm smelling it.
Hmm.
It's weird.
That makes sense.
Right.
They say
There you
then
go.
some people, I don't know, I don't want to think too much about what could be cut, being emanated from certain individuals, but I do like to think that we have protection if we choose that. But I think that we have to create that story. So just by simply saying, okay, that's for me, I'll take it, that should do it. That's how I feel. I don't feel there's any need to worry every day. You just put it on and say, there, done. A
It's weird.
little
It's just weird.
armor from things like that.
All right. So same old story. Where are we going with this?
Well, because for me, it is the same old story as I sort of alluded to. We've told this story over and over again, the story of the ruler of the waters, and the story was told about Poseidon. And I just thought it was interesting that he had 12 wives, lovers, and a lot of those names are very familiar to us. And it struck me that it might be sort of connected to, again, the houses. Whenever you see 12, you can think about the wheel, the 12 houses of the zodiac. Um, to me, the one and the two equals three. And now we're at the Empress. The Empress is the energy of creation to me. And it's up to us in this moment to create because this is where we're at. We're in the 12th house. And so all these characters I thought might be more familiar to some of us, but we are all saying the same thing. And I find this is often the truth. It's found in the Pirates of the Caribbean. One of the movies there featured a trident, and it's quite an interesting symbol
Just
that
remember,
now Mercedes uses, or
I
sorry,
just
Maserati uses.
yeah. Yeah, I just remember something very funny, but I better not tell you because it's a bit rude.
Oh no, why not, Kim?
All
Go
right, it's
ahead.
rude and it's embarrassing. It's about my father, but
Oh,
he's
well, maybe
dead.
you might
He's
not want to. I'll give you
no,
another
he
pass.
no, it's okay. But there was a movie some years ago called The Pirates of the Caribbean or something, and it was a very, very, very saucy, X-rated movie, but it was like the same name as Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
And somebody had given my dad this really saucy movie. So I mean, my dad's like 80 years old, and I'm at home, I'm caring for him. And I go and I make him dinner, I'm making him dinner, and I said to him, would you like to watch a movie? And he said, yeah. I said, what movie would you like to watch? He's going, oh, you've got this Pirates of the Caribbean movie. You want to watch that? Yeah, okay. So put it in the video player, go back to the kitchen, come back in the lounge room carrying the two cheese toasties or whatever it was I'd made for dinner. And there's this really, really graphic porno movie playing on the TV.
How awful.
And he's looking at me going, I don't even know. Oh my goodness, really? Uh, Anyway, about 2 months after this, we were moving him out of his house and he wasn't very well. And we'd left him at home in bed. And we have to leave him alone because my sister and I had gone to empty the house. Go to him, there's a TV there. What movie would you like to watch? He said, that pirate one. I'm
Well,
all
nothing
right.
like leaving him hanging.
So anyway,
Oh dear. Oh my.
so
Well,
sorry, Dad. Sorry for telling the world that
yeah, it's
story,
a
but
pretty funny story, but oh
yeah.
yeah.
All right. So he had 12. I didn't even realize he had 12 wives or 12
I didn't know
wives.
that either. 12 wives and lovers, including Aphrodite. You know, this is quite interesting. So Neptune has powerful impact over us. It's sort of to me, it's the end of the story. So it's the wisdom of everything that we've experienced up until now, right before we start again.
Mm,
And we start again in Aries. The beginning is always Aries, arise in Aries.
mm.
So we're being told that we're in the age of Aquarius, and I've always been questioning that. It feels like there's just been too much propaganda around it. And I personally can't attest to the knowledge that we know that. I don't know that. I question that.
I did have a dream the other night that was confirming that we were in water, and that would make
Hmm.
and I thought, oh, that's weird. Uh, but it was what it was telling me was that the the basically we're in emotion.
Yes.
We're learning through emotion in
And
this.
we're being manipulated through emotion. And moving forward, we'll be manipulated with our thoughts because we're moving into air.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
our
So
thoughts are, it's the flooding of our thoughts.
yes,
That's the
emotional.
weapon. That's the weapon. And
And
we're
the
getting an emotional trigger at the moment
and then
because,
the word emotion, you break that down, you've got emotion, which is like E is always energy and then forward momentum. So emotion is the one thing that can trigger this reality in the negative towards the negative.
oh, yes. Well, emotional energy is manifesting.
Yeah.
When we put our intention and if our emotions are hijacking our intentions, what kind of energy are we emoting?
Yeah.
We are emoting, we are emitting, and we are vibration, and we are the creators. So our
And then I'm
our
and then I'm thinking
Taurus, this field that we're in right now, the sun is in the Taurus field. A lot of people may be having trouble with this area in general. You may be feeling a little, you're being asked to speak your truth. You're being asked to be authentic. You're being asked to open the throat chakra,
and
and you're
then
asked to give, special attention to the messages that you're getting.
let me just say one thing. When you were saying emotions, you were saying emo, and then I'm just thinking of Dr. Emoto.
Yes, but is he
And then
emoting?
but not only that, Dr. Emoto and all of those water symbols and
Well,
Emoto.
things like that we can take and see for ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't have to rely on somebody else's. And I
No.
think it's becoming more and more important for us to check the aptitude of people who call themselves professionals,
Yeah.
because we know that a lot of people have paid for their diploma, but they didn't necessarily earn it.
Yeah.
We've gotten
Mm,
ourselves in a real mess. But
yeah.
all of this is being disclosed
Yeah.
and revealed. We're in a time of revelations. Well, that's what the 12th house is all about. It's
Mm,
about showing us what the illusions are. We know this. We've been experiencing it. We've been intuiting it. And now looking at the energy of Neptune, we can see
mm.
how this plays for each one of us.
And
Not just if you're Piscean, we've
it's
all got this in our chart.
one of the things that I've noticed. I don't know whether it's happening where you are, but in Australia, things are becoming more and more and more expensive. And I went to get just some lemon and ginger tea bags at the local shop. and they were $9.05 for a little packet of lemon and ginger tea bags. So what I did instead was I joined the local community garden group and boycotted the $9 for tea bags and went to the local community and cut off some lemongrass and cut off some hibiscus and came home and mixed it all up in a little jar and made myself a cup of hibiscus and cut two pieces of ginger up. And I've got this, like,
That's
I don't know whether
clever.
you can see it. It's like an orangey colored tea. And the other thing is I've been using my coffee grinder because I don't drink coffee anymore, to mix up some turmeric. So it's got a tinge of turmeric taste to it too.
That's a powerful pain reliever. You're going to
So
feel
that,
great drinking that with those gloves on. And,
I know,
these are, and then adding your big, powerful thoughts into the beverage, like we were shown, and
exactly.
does it make a difference? I
Yeah,
tested it with food. I said, do I digest easily?
yeah,
Well, that depends on my thoughts while I'm eating.
yeah.
If I think this is not going to be good for me and if it's going to hurt me, well, lo and behold, or if I think it's going to put me to sleep, lo and behold, so if we just are very curious and approach a little differently, show me how much of it do I need? Do I need it? Is this something that will benefit me? And then we're just approaching food altogether differently and then allowing ourselves to eat what is in front of us and saying, my body will take what it needs and leave the rest.
Mhm.
That's an entirely different vibration than I shouldn't eat this.
Yeah, yeah. All right, next.
Well, as I said, this was a draft. I didn't know it was coming out to everyone, but that's what I found when I went searching for the Ghibli. Now that word is also interesting etymologically, Ghibline, and so I can't recall,
So
but I would
the
encourage
Ghibli
people to
is the
put that into your etymology
model,
searches.
and Ghibli is a what, the model of Maserati, is it?
Yes, but it means more than that. So that Ghibli apparently goes into limp mode a lot.
When your vehicle goes into limp mode, it can be a serious problem, a major inconvenience, right? Yeah. Right. Okay.
I
Going back,
couldn't help but laugh. I just had no words when I saw that. I thought, oh, I'll have to
simple,
share.
simple DIY fixes. Yeah, I can suggest a few.
I was looking more for the word and the model, and then I saw that and I said, well, what the heck? Because to me, the word Maserati, there's always information to be found in our language.
But
What is, and the symbols, obviously,
do you know,
Neptune, they're screaming Neptune.
and you know what? It's really weird about this because I got this whole thing about your car mimicking
Are
your emotional
yes,
state. Like somebody comes along and smashes you up the rear end, and it's like, I'm gonna swear here, like, I'm not gonna swear, but yeah, move on. You know, somebody hits you, you hit somebody up the rear end. It means slow down. You're not watching where you're going.
that's right.
And I could tell you a story about, but I can't mention any of the people concerned. But there was this story about this person I know who was about to get married and about to make a huge mistake in relation to, she didn't want to marry this person. She was going ahead with it anyway. Um, but what actually happened was she got on the freeway and a stone hit her window and smashed her front windscreen.
Mm,
And it stopped her from going to the place that she was meant to go to finalize the wedding for the following Sunday. And she ended up calling me actually and saying, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Don't do it, don't do it. Don't do anything more, like if you get a smashed windscreen on your way to arranging the
That's a
wedding,
bit of
it's,
resistance.
yeah, like think about what you're doing now, you know?
That's right.
But I think your car is very relative to the things that are going on with your car, are very relative to your personality.
It's
And if
part of
you,
the Merkaba.
and
It's
if
the Ka.
Merkaba,
It's the earthly expression of our experience.
and then you go with the symbolism of the Maserati and the male appendage and the fact that the sports car is kind of like some sort of extension of the male appendage or something. And then you go on to this limp mode stuff and it's all associated to what's wrong with your car. Oh, it's gone into limp mode. What's that going to tell you? And then when I think about, oh, I'm not even good. I'm going to get really personal, so I'm not going to tell you.
Well, I think that that really summed it up, though. When I saw that, I thought, oh, they're clearly selling it, and it's in the word. I think that's one of the slides we have, Kim.
All right, I'll go next. Right. The myth behind the trident. Do you want me
Well,
to read
this is
that?
right from their own website.
Do
So
you want me to read
it
that
says,
out?
yes, please.
The statue of Neptune at the very end of the Piazza Maggiore in Bologna is inspired Mario to create the Maserati logo. Neptune is a mythological god of the sea, brother of Pluto and Jupiter, often pictured as an old man with curly hair and a long beard, holding a three-pronged fisherman's spear called the trident. The trident was a symbol of his strength and vigor, showing indisputable dominion over the sea and all sea deities and creatures who acknowledge him as their ruler. He had the ability to cause mighty storms at will, as well as the power to soothe swells, granting safe navigation to sailors. Surprisingly enough, for the god of the sea, Neptune is also known as the tamer of horses. Early depictions show him riding across the waves in a chariot drawn by horses of the sea, and these representations immediately link him to the world of racing, a connection that comes full circle with the horses becoming the embodiment of the engine horsepower. Wow. Mm. Okay, so the guard of the sea and the tamer of horses.
The
Maserati.
tamer of horses. So the horse is the earthly representation as I see it, but this horse was mythologically known to be in the water. So the seahorse comes to mind. I think it's an interesting story, and it really matches the Poseidon story in many ways. Um, I guess I just thought it was interesting that this was what they wanted to share with us. The other thing that came to mind was Mario Kart. And if you look at the M on the Mario Kart, it's an upside down trident. And, the colors are there, the checkerboard, all of that, the black and white. It's all very symbolic, I feel. And
Mm,
it's just hidden in so many different movies, and we're not always aware of what we're seeing,
no.
and it's kind of like defines this moment in time where we're not really all aware of what we're experiencing,
Mm,
but some of us can see it quite clearly. And, I think it's a really interesting moment of, again, creating, using that trident within. And because we are Neptune, we are that person, we have that strength within. But also the word Maserati, I think, is telling us a lot still about why did they choose that word? When they created this car, what was so special about it?
we were looking at the different, just on another completely tangent, and we haven't really gone here yet, but we were researching how many of the cars symbols are
Hmm.
actually related to the zodiac symbols, the different car symbols. And then I was walking down the street today with my friend, and I saw a car symbol. I said, I've never seen that before. And she said, "Oh, it's a Tesla car." I went, "Oh, never seen it. I'll show you the symbol." Oh, research it and show you the symbol.
They use
I
these
don't know whether
symbols a
you have you
lot
seen it.
because, yes, well,
Have
no,
you seen the
I can't
Tesla one?
say that I know what it is, but oh, yes, I do. It looks like Aries, doesn't it? No, I might be
Yeah,
getting
it does look
confused.
like Aries. Yeah.
The Aries
Uh,
symbol?
Yeah, it does. Tells the symbol.
And then if you look at Subaru, you'll see the Pleiades.
That's what it looks like.
Yes. So it
So
does remind me of Aries, but
it
like they've
reminded
got
me of Aries too.
a lid on it. You see that dome over it? It's like
Mm,
preventing Aries
it's
from
like a
rising.
ram. Tulsa preventing Aries from rising. Mm.
Aries doesn't have that top cover.
No.
It's like Aries enclosed. I don't like it. And if you know anything about these cars, you have to sort of subscribe piece by piece and annual memberships. And it's like, wow. We were talking earlier about my experience buying a cell phone.
Yeah.
I purchased the phone and then I said, well, where's the charger? And they said, oh, it doesn't come with one. And I said, what do you mean? You have to buy it separate. I had to buy every little piece separate. And I said, okay, now I've already completed my transaction. So I guess I'm going to ask you to go get me the pieces that I need. I'll make another transaction. He says, well, I don't have any in stock.
And
What?
you'd already
What?
bought the phone.
But this thing too, you have to have an app to start the car. And
Mm.
then if you want to unlock features,
No,
you then
no.
become a subscriber and unlock each app. And then I guess
Yeah,
randomly they expire. I mean, I wouldn't want the wrong app to expire in the middle of driving.
exactly. And I was laughing because a friend of mine came over and said, oh, I'm thinking about buying a Tesla car, you know? And I went, it's a really bad idea considering the only charge up station that I know of in Brisbane at all is in IKEA in the car park, and there's two of them, and it'll be a really, really long queue.
Well, those things are known to pick. I mean, we've got a Big Brother society anyway, but those things are really known to pick up identity. Like they're picking up a lot of information. They're
Yeah,
designed that way to
yeah.
scan for, so they know not only just bought, who used that service, but they also know who was there and did not use that service.
Right. Word wanderings.
Yeah, so this was again, it's just masculine, I wondered, and then era,
Era.
a period of time, and the T, the Maserati. I thought, what the heck is that? And then I connected it to third eye
Yeah.
harmonics because I had intended to come back to this. I noticed later by looking at the etymology of the word T that it is a word that they've in recent years come to use instead of SI. So I found that quite interesting. So if you look at the etymology of T, you'll see that it's an upgrade from what we once had. And then if you look at people like Annie Williams, who have done a tremendous job deciphering the
Oh,
zodiac of
this
sound.
is that this
Yeah,
here.
thank
Well,
you. The
is
zodiac
that
of sound, that what
yeah.
she shows us, it was once C. But if you say do, re, mi, fa, you end at where? T, the crown, or in this case, the 2 feet. It's the fishes, or so they say. It's Neptune, right? That's the house of Neptune that we now know. Maserati uses that upgraded term, T,
Mm.
do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Why were we taught that? When that was actually what once was. They didn't want to confuse it with the other S word sounds, they said. Well, you're changing the musical scale. I think that's quite significant.
Claudia also did some work on this in relation to the house, the zodiac, and the musical notes. Uh, one of Claudio's original videos was on this. It was really interesting. Um, but who's the? Can we give a link to this girl's
Yes, her name
videos
is
as well?
Annie, Ani, and Williams, and I'll share a link. She's a brilliant light in the field of deciphering the sound and also telling um, the alchemy of sound and how we can use it in so many ways to heal. And I think that's what we once upon, I mean, I think we're actually rediscovering the things that we already had
Mm.
and somehow managed to forget about. We've been
It's
so busy with the distractions, we've forgotten all of this ancient wisdom.
but the other thing is that there is so much on the table right now. Like if you, I don't, it's almost like information overload. And I've been saying this for some time, but it's so very easy to get distracted and get yourself away from what it is that you're basically meant to be doing, which can be different for each person. But
Correct.
one of the things that Heather and it maybe was saying was that this particular alignment that we're going through currently with this reoccurring Pluto thing occurring as well is there's no escaping it. There's
Mm-mm.
no escaping whatever it is that we have to face. And if we're still reacting to stuff, then we need to examine why. We need to look at ourselves and examine why the reaction. Why are we reacting? And it's
Correct.
just like these like fine-tuning points. And the same with the information that's out there. If we're meant to be watching something, it'll just resonate with us. Like we'll press play on something and I'll watch something for 3 minutes. And it might be somebody that I've watched for years and been very happy with watching for years. Something we've been talking about recently that we go to watch something and we just can't watch it anymore. We're just gonna like, I
It
can't
doesn't
watch this
resonate.
person.
We vibrated right out of that belief system. It was interesting. We learned it. And then I don't know about you, but for me, I oftentimes it was a vibe. I remember thinking I caught a vibe, and then once you catch that, it doesn't feel right vibe.
Yeah.
Um, I don't look back. Well, I shouldn't say I don't look back because sometimes I become curious, but then I just simply can't tune in again. It's like changing the station on the radio. You find something that sounds better or more appealing, and it's like you just outgrow that space, I suppose.
I'm gonna go back to my normal background because it's freaking me out because I kept seeing this black image around me and it looked like it was just the chair kept coming in and out of focus, but it was kind of like, oh my God, there's something black over my shoulder.
Something's behind you.
Yeah, no, it's just my chair. It was the interference with that screen I was using.
One other thing looking at the screen I'm noticing is the letter B. And we were talking about the importance of the B vitamins. I don't know if there's any connection, but the letter B, when we think about it, to be or not to be, who are we and who are we becoming? And the Pisces statement, like I often talk about the 12 I am statements of the zodiac, and the Pisces is I believe, so there's the B again, I believe.
And the
And
believe is such a big thing. That difference between believing and knowing. I
yeah,
believe it or I know it is eons apart. Eons apart.
correct.
Um,
Correct.
all of these belief systems that we have supplanted in our subconscious mind from childhood. And it's only
And
when we actually re-examine them, when we re-look at them as an adult and go, hang on a second. Whoa. I mean, right up until today, I sometimes do things and I think, what the hell? What am I doing that for? Why am I reacting to that? And I think about it and I think, well, when did like I'll give you a minor example. I've been frightened of bees my whole life. Um, and it's because my mother was frightened of bees. So now, or up until today, I would hear a bee and I would freak out,
mm,
thinking that it's gonna sting me, it's gonna sting me.
it's as though it's happening again.
Yeah. And then I go, hang on a second, that's actually quite a nice noise that. It's not scary at all. And you don't really like it really close to me, but
What if
um
it's the part of them that lifts them?
I had a thought last night. I had a really weird thought because we've been getting this like rain, right? And it's intermittent. It keeps waking me up because it's like heavy rain, nothing. 10 minutes, heavy rain, nothing. And then I think heavy rain says it sounds the same as static.
Mm,
I could hear
it
it
does have a very similar, yeah.
sounding the same as static. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know whether that means anything, but I did have
Well,
that
it's a
thought
wave
today.
of energy. It's a wave, it's all water. Everything is water. We are water. We come from the water. We
So,
we are in the
what
water. I don't even think we know we're in the water.
I think we're in the water, but I don't know how. And Martin Leakey used to talk about this a lot about um, symbolism, all says that we are, all the symbolism says we're in water.
And
And that,
we are the water, and we command the water, just like Neptune. We
but I,
command the water.
but I actually think it's just symbolic. And I think what it's actually saying is we are emotion. We are
Yes.
living in Pisces. We are living in emotion. We're living in the time of emotion. Emotion is the creator in this particular realm. And as we move on, thought will be the creator. So perhaps we're learning to be thought creators, but currently we are emotional creators.
Oh, I agree. It's the hidden stuff with Pisces, especially. It to me represents the deepest water. It's the part that we supposedly have not explored. It's the deepest part of the ocean.
Must admit that, the conversations that I have with people, I, I mean, I'm 61. And I mean, I can remember like being a child and being around adults as a child. And none of the adults were having deep conversations. I can't remember.
Oh no. And there
Eh,
was the big three you weren't supposed to talk about, and they pretty much adhered to that. They avoided talking about the things that they were told they shouldn't talk about. And look at where that got us.
I know, I know. But I try to recall whether or not any, because I have deep conversations with everybody all the time, even random strangers.
Well, I
Uh,
think many of us are more empathic and or sympathetic. We live more in the right side of our experience. We're more emotional water. We might have a lot more water. I know I do. My chart is loaded with water, even though I'm a fire sign. So people wonder, well, how? Well, that's how. Like, where's your moon? Your moon is what's in command of your emotional energy. Most everybody knows where their sun is, but nobody really knows where the moon is.
my
And
moon's in
that's
Taurus.
the commander of your water.
My
I'm
moon's in
Neptune.
Taurus. I'm
I'm
terrible.
Neptune.
I mean, technically, I'm a Gemini, and I can see how I'm a Gemini. You were saying earlier, Geminis are, I think,
I think, yes,
and I can see
yes.
how I am, I think, but I can also see how my Taurus moon, because I'm terribly practical for Gemini, and Geminis generally aren't practical at all, and I'm terribly practical. In fact, I'm probably more practical than I am a Gemini
Yeah, no, so that it might have something more to do with your moon, Kim. Do you know where your moon is?
in Taurus.
In Taurus. So there it
Mm,
is. That is the practical, stable, loyal, all those fine qualities come
yeah.
through in Taurus. And it's Venus,
Yeah.
so it's about love, the love of beauty and all the fine things and
Mm,
that type of thing.
mm,
So it would be absolutely your emotional waters would be more Taurian and therefore more of your experience. I feel it's more important for us to focus on where the moon is. But
mm.
we're told we're lunatics when we when we study the moon.
Yeah. Well, this is something.
That's okay. We'll do it. I'm doing it anyway.
All right. So, end of that Neptune story, end of the Tulsa story.
But
Um,
yes, Subaru is the Pleiades. You'll see the symbol of the Pleiades. In Canada, we have a car called, Ford, and but there's the Ford Taurus, Ford
what?
Mercury. There's a Ford Mercury, a Ford Taurus. I mean, on and on it goes. If you just look, you'll see, especially with big companies, you'll see the symbols of astrology.
Toyota. Um, okay, what's that one?
This it wasn't Toyota, sorry, Kim, it was Subaru. But Toyota, what are we seeing here? It looks to me a bit like the bull.
Yeah,
So
it
you've
does.
got,
Yeah,
yeah, I see a little bit of the Taurus, the bull
yeah,
here.
I do see that too. Um,
Toyota. I think you'd have to look again at the etymology of the word
what about
iota, iota.
Mazda? Because
They're
I
smaller
drive a Mazda.
cars.
Oh, I drive a Mazda. So what about the
Let's
Mazda?
look
What
at
does
the
that tell
symbol.
you as a symbol? Sorry, got that wrong. Ooh,
That's lovely, and it looks like it does look like Aries to me.
yeah.
Mazda, Ahura Mazda comes to mind.
I wonder if our car doesn't like our car make and model doesn't tell us something too. Doesn't tell us something deeper about ourselves, you know? Like I'm driving a car that's got an Aries symbol.
Yes,
Like, does that mean I'm rapidly going towards action,
yes.
action orientated? I'm driving a Mazda because I'm action orientated. So what do you drive?
I drive a Jeep.
Jeep.
I drive a Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's a comfy car.
Uh, Jeep
Jeep
symbol.
Cherokee, Grand Cherokee.
Let's have a look at the Jeep symbol. It looks like a
There's the five-pointed star.
where? Oh, there.
Uh,
Right, like the Chrysler, is it?
yes, Chrysler Dodge Jeep. So that's I don't know what the logo was originally, but that's where we're at now.
It looks like this looks like um a radiator, but
It
but
does.
but it also looks like dots and dashes. It's almost like the foundation, the zero and the one.
The zero and the one. And if you look artistically, absolutely everything comes down to lines or curves, masculine or feminine, lines or curves.
Okay, so Jeep, J double E P.
Yeah. I wonder what
H.
letter the J, the J was sort of introduced, I think,
Yeah,
later.
there doesn't seem to be a J. A J. I mean, the J
U.
seems to have been introduced about quite recently, like maybe 400 years ago, like quite
Well,
recent.
it was used as a military vehicle in war. I think it might be of German design. I'm not sure. Yeah, and it's been a great car. I can attest to that. I have had no major issues. I'm grateful to have it. I will say the upkeep is not inexpensive. There have been a few shocks for something very simple, and so that's one point of interest. But yeah, I don't know why.
I owned one a few years ago, but it was very expensive to keep on the road.
Yeah,
Not cheap, not cheap to have a Jeep.
not cheap to have a Jeep. Well,
Yeah,
I got a great deal, and it was practically new. So opportunity knocks, and I just say thank you.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, so what else? What else does it tell you to have a Jeep? What else do you get from that?
uh, I don't think I didn't have a plan to buy a Jeep. It has become a very comfortable vehicle for me. I do have a vehicle story where I manifested the Jeep, and it really frightened me because I was a bit, well, I was being a little bit of a sulk about not having heated seats in my car. I was complaining, and I was saying, "Oh, it must be nice, that people have heated seats, and my car is brand new. I'll never be able to sell it." Because I've paid for it now and it's got very low kilometers. Why would I ever sell this wonderful car that I have? And lo and behold, I was shown that somebody very important to me was going to have a mishap. And I said, "You've got to be kidding me." I said, "No, I don't want this." And they said, "Don't worry, he'll be fine." And I said, "That's not funny." And I completely dismissed it, not thinking anything more about it. And then sure enough, someone that I know had my vehicle and took it for fuel. And on the way back, got thumped, got hit by our neighbor of all people, the person that lived right behind us. And I said, this, you can't make this stuff up. And I said, where are you? And he told me, and I said, no, that's not where you're at. He was mistaken about his location. I had it right. I had it in my head where, and I said, like, I did not consciously manifest that, but I was subtly aware of some of the major details around that moment. And I said, that I will never complain again about my vehicle. I am grateful beyond words for the
Yeah.
vehicle that I have.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. It's beer upside down.
Beer. Ooh, so now we're talking. I used to really like beer.
I used to really like beer too. I stopped drinking a
Beer
few
was
years
my
ago now.
friend. I miss beer, but I think it's just, yeah, we
Did you like
outgrow.
beer when you got the car?
No, I did not.
Oh, well, there you go.
No, no, I didn't put a
Interesting.
lot of thought into what I would drive. I just said, oh, opportunity, and I like it. And so I said yes. If anything,
Okay.
maybe it's trying to teach me. I could be wrong about where it was manufactured, but I think it was manufactured in Germany. So maybe I do have a strong interest in what's going on there now and what may have happened in the past. That I never, like, I always had sort of a superficial interest in, I suppose, but it's really grown in the last while.
Look at that one.
Oh, look at that.
Something about symbolism of problem, no problem on the back. It's what it says. Look at the car upside down. Problem, no problem.
Mine is
It's a
just like
problem.
a, mine's just like a little SUV. It's a small car and it's perfect for me. I was going to get something like that because I thought, well, that's fine, like a dune buggy, but they don't look all that comfortable. And
No.
again, I wanted heated seats.
Yeah, I don't have that problem.
Oh, it took me 6 weeks to find, like, I couldn't even agree to buy a new vehicle because of
No.
what happened, how I was perceiving it all to have gone down. I felt so uncomfortable with that. I felt like I manifested my way out of the perfectly good car I had.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Oh dear.
All right. So, on a general note, is there anything else we want to talk about before we end this?
Well, yeah, I was curious about this in between moment for you, especially Kim, with the moon. Like, I think a lot of changes, would you say? We're witnessing a lot of changes moving forward, and I think that Jupiter becomes a significant player in our experience on or around the time of that full moon too. So just something to watch for. And Jupiter
That
is
you
bringing
talking
like
about the lunar eclipse on the 5th of May,
yes, that's
right?
right. So
Okay.
that's coming up, and I'm
So,
just curious about this in between eclipse moment. How does it feel?
well, to be perfectly honest with you, I was in a really strange space up until Thursday. I've been on a very strange mental space for about 3 weeks since that, well, certainly since the 19th of April. Um, and that solar eclipse. And I'd actually expected for the solar eclipse to have some sort of like positive effect, but
Mhm.
I am often so wrong. Whatever I think is going to be, it's often the reverse or the opposite of that. And I went into this really kind of like melancholy state, which is really unusual for me. And I couldn't quite work or put my finger on why. What
Mhm.
was it that was making me feel um and I couldn't work it out. And then I got lifted out of it on Thursday for some reason, and I've been fine since it's gone. And I didn't even find out what it was, but it was a very strange, deep, like deep energy that I was sensing, like
Well,
something
we
but miserable.
yeah, I can appreciate that. I think a lot of it has to do with the 14-day cycle of the moon. So we have the moon travels for 2 weeks in the waxing stage, where we may feel a little more upbeat. and positive, whereas and light, just light-footed things are easier for us. And opposed to the waning stage which is a bit more like a hibernation stage, a time of reflection, a time of going deep, a time of isolating ourselves. I think that we have that sine wave energy naturally and with the magnetic forces of the moon. So again, the ruler of our emotional energy. So it's natural for us to have that. And it's an opportunity in that deep state to cleanse and get rid of stuff that, those stories that are not working for us, because we have to be still to listen. And, we're not really still when we're up. We're active when we're arise, Aries, we're charging ahead, right? And
Right.
using all that wonderful energy within to actually take action. And yeah,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, I hope I feel that it's a perfectly normal thing that we all go through.
Yeah. Yeah. I um I got this feeling that the next few months, I don't know, I just feel like we're giants. I just feel like we're really coming into our own power.
I agree.
And we're really not in an egotistical way at all, at any level. So it's got nothing to do with controlling the outside world at all. It's about letting go of the need to control the outside world, but still feeling empowered within self, despite the fact you've got no control over the outside world. But your power internally is actually growing, but not from a point of view that you believe in any way that you have any influence over what's actually happening out there, other than taking another choice or, just like with the tea, the tea bags on one hand are $9.05, and the other thing I can do is go and find the ingredients and make my own.
And it's
And
really not hard. And you start to wonder, why didn't I do this all along? Because
yeah,
especially if you start to grow,
yeah,
you find somebody that's got a little snippet of a plant that you
yeah,
like, and
yeah,
you become far more social and a part of the community. And
yeah.
that's what the 12th house is all about. The 12th house is about the giants. Neptune was one of the giants he was one of the 12 Olympians. Or
Mm.
was he? Get my mythologies confused, but I do
So,
believe that Poseidon, that whole story ends with him and his brother Zeus um, doing battle with the giants, or were they helping the giants, or were the giants helping them? I know the ogres are responsible. So there was three one-eyed ogres, so Cyclops. No, I kept saying ogres, but Cyclops is the right word. Oh dear, I don't have it straight. I just was looking at it the other day, but
that's
it's the
really
three
interesting.
Cyclops that created the lightning bolt for Zeus, and um, and then Zeus is AKA Thor. So you would think that that's the hammer, and the hammer is like the keys of the piano, the sound, you know, the hammer. So where does this show up in our lives
So
over and over and over?
just let me say one thing about this like ludicrous idea that part of this realm was learning to live in duality.
Oh
And
yes.
that's why we had two eyes. And then at the end of this realm, we go back to having one eye. We go back to
Well,
being Cyclops. We go back to having because the why we've got two eyes in our head in this realm. So maybe we came from a realm where we had one eye. I'm just thinking outside the box. Okay, so the 12th house is this just I'm just reading this out. Is
mhm,
considered the unseen realm and
correct.
governs all things that exist without physical forms, like dreams, secrets, and emotions. So I would say I've been having the most marvelous dreams, by the way, in the last.
Well, we've just exited that time of Pisces, that area, that time ended. And I think for a lot of us, it reignited because we go into such a deep state when we're, before Pisces, and then like a different state, not that watery dream state that Pisces offers. And then it sort of reactivates, it wakes it up again, if you will.
Those people born with planets in the 12th house are often highly intuitive, perhaps even psychic. I don't think I've got any planets in my 12th house at all.
I'm not sure, but you would have to wonder where's Neptune on your chart. So it would be that energy trying to teach you something about, say, your third, fourth, or whatever house.
Pretty sure
You
that
don't know where Neptune
Neptune's
was sitting at the
first,
time you arrived.
I think it's in my first house, Neptune.
So you want to see where your masculine and feminine moons are, both Neptune and the moon, I believe.
Well, that was the other thing in that Heather Ainsworth and the other lady, I can't remember her name, was saying that the lunar nodes are having a big involvement as well in this particular lunar eclipse. So the North Node, or the True Node, True North, that and that's all about what you came here to do. And if you're not sure what you came here to do, you're about to find out.
That's for sure, Kim. Well, and I
It'll
think most of us do know, but we sit and say, no, no, no. I want to use substances. I want to check out. I want to use virtual reality. I don't want to think about it. I want to block that, block that. And I think it'll become more and more impossible for that to happen.
mm.
You know, that third eye out, that whole energy is going to be quite present for
Because
us.
I live on an island. You know that anyway. Most of you probably know this, but I live on an island. You can only get to it by boat. And then I came home today, and I'm just about to get in the taxi, and this guy comes up to the taxi driver and says, "Where's the bus?" And the taxi driver says, "There is no bus. You're on Russell Island." And she goes, and he goes, "So how do I get to the bus?" She said, "Well, you'd have to go back to the mainland to get to the bus." He said, "How do I get to the mainland?" She said, "You see that ferry terminal up there? You see that guy in the orange shirt walking up towards the ferry? Just follow him. And when he gets on a boat, just get on the boat with him. And then you'll be able to find a bus at the other end." I said it after he'd gone, I goes, "Is that guy for real?" She goes, "Oh my God, Kim, you got no idea. The amount of people that get here and don't know how they got here and don't know how to get home."
Drunk. Or who knows how, they have no memory of how they got there. So, I mean, it's not hard to check out.
But how do you get to an island without actually being aware that you've got on a boat?
I mean,
I'm
I don't know
sorry.
what it would take.
Sorry.
I don't know what it would take.
It was just, I mean, I was just really shocked.
I would
Uh,
be too. Like, what do you mean you don't know how to get off the island?
you're on an island? What do you mean I'm on an island? I want to go to the
What do you mean
bus.
I'm on
I
an
meant,
island?
what?
Can you imagine what a nightmare that would be? I mean, I'd want to drink again. What if that happens again? What if I liked it? Especially last time I did it, I found myself on an island. Oh dear.
Just admit that was my reaction. It's like, how do you get to an island and not know you got here
Well,
and
what's
not know how to
significant
get out?
coming up about Jupiter is that Jupiter and Neptune are brothers, or sorry, son. No, brother. The brother of Jupiter. So Neptune is the son of Saturn and the brother of Jupiter, and they're about to sit in the 12th house where they're really comfortable. So we'll get to know Neptune up close. I think it's no surprise to me that you were looking at that Maserati commercial
All
and
right.
wanting to bring it to light.
Yeah, it's really relevant for us.
I
We
agree.
we are the giants, and that that end of that. I'll just go back to share screen for a second. Oh, I didn't. I never stopped sharing. Sorry. That end of that. I'm going to move that out the way. There you go. So right at the end, it says words. Um, now we strike. It says before that we have prepared, and then it says, and now we strike. And I actually think that that's us. I actually think we are now ready to create the what did we decide Aries was? Sorry, what did we decide Aquarius was? What's the two-letter? Because
The
Aries
two
is I
planets
am.
associated with Aries, or sorry,
No,
Aquarius.
the I am statements you were talking
Oh,
about
the
earlier.
I am for Pisces is I believe.
And
So what do
what's
we believe?
Aquarius?
Aquarius is I know.
So that's where we're
So
going
that's the
into.
11th
We're
house,
going
I
into I
know.
know. We're going
And
from
the
belief
11th house is very much to me Janus.
into I know.
January is the time of Aquarius. Janus, January, it's a time of, baby New Year and father time,
Yeah.
looking ahead and looking back. And so that's sort of the duality of the 11. So we've gone through that portal, right? And
Mm,
now we believe.
mm.
And so we're in the deep waters and we're hiding, but that can't continue as we arise into Aries. But they say we're moving into Aquarius. Doesn't make sense to me.
You know how I said the it's been raining and then not raining and raining and not raining and raining and not raining and raining and not raining. Well, what it's done is it's bred all these tiny little midges.
Oh, yes.
This type of weather. It's just bred all these, and I've got like itchies. I'm itchy like mad at the moment.
You want
What's
to call the birds, call the predators, Kim. Get the predators to come and feast.
Yeah, actually, the guy at the garden center today had this little baby bat, um, a baby bat cave,
Yeah,
and it's flat. It was flat like this, and it was like a piece of wood, and then it calls in baby bats. And he said he came into the garden thing this morning. He said, "I've got to hang this up somewhere because it calls in the bats, and the bats eat the mosquitoes."
yes.
So
Which I think is the most brilliant way of managing it. Just call the predators. What is it that the predators need? Make sure that they have water, make sure that if they are seeds, whatever it is that they need that would entice them. We're building owl houses. I don't know if they'll get occupied or not, but I think it would be great for us to have and see. And I don't know if they'll get used, but it's just an offering, make it as comfortable for them as possible. We have harsh winters here,
I don't think I fancy
so
bats in my house though. I've got the
no, I
problem
wouldn't
here.
much care for that. But
No, it's
yeah,
this
they're your
tiny,
ally. You're your
tiny,
allies with
tiny
certain
little,
things.
tiny little baby things biting me at the moment. I don't know what that
Oh,
manifestation is, how I manifested that.
just that time of year, Kim.
No,
So
because
look out
each
for
of
that
us,
on a bigger scale.
each of us
I would say
is
look out for the
responsible in the pop-up world.
yeah.
Each of us is responsible for everything that's in our realm. So if I've manifested think little things biting me, then maybe bigger things are going to come and bite me. Oh no,
No, I
don't
don't
really
think
want that.
so. I
Don't
think
really
if they're
want that.
biting you, it's because you haven't told them to stop. Just knock it off. Say, knock it off, go feast on something else. I know
Okay.
you need to eat. I love you and I will kill you. So I don't
Oh,
want to do that.
what about the bear? Oh, that was
The,
funny.
the bear?
The bear you were talking about earlier. What do you do if you
Oh,
come face to face with
well,
a bear?
my plan is to say, "Oh, I love you, bear. I'm your friend. Everything is going to work out." And but I don't know. I mean, I might just run for my life screaming like a mad woman. I think. I mean, I just don't know. But I think, my intention is if that happens. Yeah, but I can also wear bells and make noise and make sure that doesn't happen. They don't want to cross my path. They
No,
don't trust us, and for good reason.
no, no, exactly. Although you do
But if
see
you
it.
if you keep your vibration loving and not fearful, the bear will match you. And it's the same theory that you use when you leave your house. If I leave the house afraid of the bear, I'm going to be shown a ferocious bear.
It's the snake in the garden. I had a snake in. I did video about it months ago about having the snake in the garden. When I went outside, there's a gigantic snake in the garden. And it was Anyway, I put it on up on Facebook. Um, for somebody to come and get the snake out of my garden. And the amount of people that responded and said, I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take it. And then I found out later that um, everybody wants the snake in the garden because it's a really good symbolic sign. It's got great feng shui to it, and it's got great energy. If you've got a snake in your house, in your garden, it means that the energy of the place that you're living is a really healthy energy. I
They
mean,
say
this,
build your house where the snakes live.
yeah, yeah. And do you know what? I looked at snakes completely differently after that, and I've not seen one since.
We have made peace with them. And so for me, it was a band called Rush. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't hear it. I didn't like it. It was bug music for me. It really bugged me. And but lo and behold, every time I got into somebody's car, it was playing. I was, oh my gosh, what do I do about this? I really can't stand the sound. And I finally said, all right, I've learned a little here, about this manifestation game, and I'm going to try and love this band. So I turned on their music and I said, I'm going to love it. And lo and behold, Kim, it had messages for me that I had not been able to hear before.
Yeah, I did
And it
it.
was like bug music. So this is us to a person that's not ready to hear it. That's why I
I
say I trust that if we're speaking it, the people who are ready to hear it are hearing it.
I had a I lived in an apartment. I had a little dog living, two little dogs living upstairs, right? And they used to go out to work all day, and I was at home, right? And these dogs would be running backwards and forwards on a wooden floor. It's like all day long, every
Mm.
minute of the day. These dogs are running backwards and forwards up this floor, and I'm going. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't meditate. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't do anything but listen to these dogs. And I thought, this is crazy. I'm going to go insane. Um, I need to find what does that noise sound like that I actually like. I needed to find something similar. So I decided that I like drums, and it could kind of be a different type of drum, and I could kind of make music out out of it in my own head. I could kind of make these different songs out of it. And you know what? I never heard those dogs again. Never heard it. Oh, they were
It's
still
as though you
there.
shifted their sound, you gave it a new sound.
Yeah, you give it a new label in your head and it's done. You've done it. You finished it. You've beaten it.
It's almost like taking a recipe. You can have a very basic cookie recipe, and then if you add chocolate chips or if you add peanut butter, but it's still the same recipe. At the end of the day, it's the foundation is the same.
Yeah.
So if we just, get to the beginning of it and just say, how could it be? You know, I think I'm excited for this moment in time, and I'm encouraged by so many of the conversations that I have with people. I feel like we're ready for this, accepting the challenge. Some of us still don't seem to be clear on what the challenge is. I think it's simply that we're not waiting for anybody but us. And
I'm going to tell you something. I told you earlier. I've got a friend of mine that I met at the community garden that I'm in, and she's had a house built, and she's having the house brought to the island on a
oh,
barge, and it's coming in at 8:30 on Wednesday morning.
wow,
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my camera. We're doing a celebration for the car for the house arriving on the island, because it's just, and it's amazing to watch them constructed as well, because
that would be
these houses arriving on the barges in a big truck, and then they're just driven up to the house and just plonked on the site. And within 3 days, you've got a house.
amazing,
So
amazing.
I'm going to take a, because it's a unique thing really in this world that we live in.
Well, and it's nice to celebrate a friend's arrival, and what a wonderful purchase. And
I know.
this is lovely. It's a nice greeting.
So
Nice to go and cheer each other on,
I'm
you
going to go and
know.
take a little video of the house coming in on the boat,
Yeah,
and
that's
then I'll
great.
go and do a follow-up video of it actually being put on the block, and a follow-up video of a few days later, and when it's finished, because it only takes, I've seen it done at the top of the street. This house comes in, and a couple of days later they're living in it. It's like
phenomenal.
amazing, amazing. All right.
Just have to have the right tools, right people, right place.
Yeah.
And then anything is possible. So when we bring it all together, we put it all in our cauldron, mix it up, and it should work, And sometimes we have lessons to learn and it doesn't work the first time, but the next time, I guess the message is don't give up, try again, put another recipe together, try it this way instead. Find a way, be determined.
I feel like I've got fleas.
Oh dear, they are really troublesome. I know that.
I haven't got
Maybe
fleas.
if you got some aromatherapy, you can sort of deter them with maybe a little eucalyptus or something like that. If you can put some eucalyptus oil to work,
I've got eucalyptus. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wonder if just having that aroma around might help, Kim.
I might go and do that.
Yeah,
Right.
they can be really troublesome, so I hope you
They're
find a
not
way to
fleas.
manage.
They're
No,
not
I
fleas.
know, but they're troubling. I know
I
the
haven't
feeling.
got because I haven't got any animals here. So um it's these little it's because of the rain. Because of
It's that time of year for you folks, and
and
it's the right conditions, right?
yeah, I'm
So,
just
but I think it's telling us to what's on the surface, right? So, what are we looking at here? What's on the surface, not to let anything trouble you. So, just even hover your hand over your arms that are troubling you right now, because the more we do this, right, the more
yeah, no,
so just to without actually touching, you're just hovering,
just
and yeah, and just clear the energy as you do that because we have this auric field and our hands are very healing. And you
mm,
can feel, heat if there's pain.
mm,
And you can say, all right, we've had enough.
mm,
Thanks for letting me know. You
mm,
messenger, you pain messenger, you. You can go and I'll be taking very good care of myself from here on.
mm.
You may want to find a light sleeve or something as you go through this transition of the or response to the weather, the conditions.
Yeah, it's just the conditions.
It's
It's
temporary. Yes, I think sometimes we have to learn what are the purpose of these little things.
everything's
Sometimes
got a
they can be so
purpose.
irritating, but then once we learn, well, what is it that they do? There has to be something important that they're here
Maybe it's
for.
just like the bear. Maybe I just need to love them.
Love
Maybe they
them right
just
out of there. Yeah.
just go, guys, I love you, but not in my house. I once lived in this house that was inundated in ants, right? And I'd gone to this meeting and we were chatting about, and I'm going, oh my God, I've got a really big ant problem at home. And somebody said to me, all you got to do is make a little ditty or make a little song up and tell the ants to go. But you've got
Yes.
to tell them where to go. You can't just say, leave my house. So at the time, I lived in this like what you would call it like a condo complex, right? Or like a townhouse here. And I went home and there's this little song about the ants and moving to number four. It was a really good idea if they moved to number four, and that way I didn't have to kill them. And I made this
Yes.
little song up about it and sang this song. So about a week later, the ants had gone, and I bumped into the woman that lived in number four. And she said to me, oh my God, got a really bad ant problem.
Oh,
I went, have you? That's a real shame.
that's a shame. I hope you figure this out.
Whoops. I hope you
Whoops.
figure
Little
I hope
misfire.
you figure it out. I'm not
Yeah.
telling you that story in case you send them back to me.
Don't send them back. Well, then you just put a little bit of salt on the threshold like we used to. I
Yeah.
still do it. Put a
Yeah.
little salt out there, especially even like recently. I think we were in a void moon,
Yeah, I did
and
it. I did it
oh, I
recently
could
as
really
well.
feel it. I could
I
really
did
feel
it.
it outside. I opened the door at night and I said, "Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
time for some salt."
I did
It
it
just had a
recently. Funny
tangibly
feeling. Like
dark feeling.
maybe 10 days ago. Very recently.
Yes.
And I had the
Yeah.
same
Likewise. Likewise,
and
Kim.
I haven't done it
Yeah.
for ages. And it was just like, wow.
Yeah, it was tangible. It felt like a really important time to do that. So we're good then.
All right. Well, I'm gonna cut you off because it's now 12:30 and I've got another big day tomorrow. And it's been great fun chatting. And
Likewise, Kim. Likewise.
um
What a fun topic too. A lot to
it's
learn
good.
there.
It's
I've been
really
wanting
good.
to learn more about Neptune for a while, so this really, held me to task. I appreciate your support and encouragement. It was a lot of fun
It was
to
really
uh,
cool.
to explore this with you, and yeah, curious to hear what other people have to say. If there's anything to add to that, always, and yeah, we'll hopefully
And
do this again.
thank you so much for that, Ginger. And it's absolutely great that you put that PowerPoint presentation together. And I think that you're a genius.
Oh, I love you. Thanks so much, Kim. That's very kind.
It's really good. All right. And we'll talk soon. I'm gonna
All the best.
disconnect you. Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.